Good day, everyone. It's Chef Pete. We're going to be making sushi today. So I'm going to be a little bit more specific than just saying sushi. We're making maki. So those are our hand rolls. So that's typically when you think of sushi, that's what we're thinking, is those little rolls wrapped in seaweed. And we're going to be making California rolls today. So here's our mise en place for today. Here we have crab. This is imitation crab, so it's made with pollock and whiting fish. But you could use king crab legs, which run $25 a kilogram. So most of the time when you order this is what you're getting. You're getting this pollock sort of imitation crab. Tastes very good. It's all wonderful. We need wasabi. We're using sesame seeds. The sesame seeds aren't in your recipe, but I like to toast them, which I've done here already. So just, you don't have to put any oil or anything. You just sort of toss them up, get them all nice and brown. And we're going to be using that to garnish and to roll. Put on the outside of our rolls. We're going to need pickled ginger, some rice wine vinegar, soy sauce, the seaweed sheets, okay, which are known as nori. We're going to be using avocado. I'm adding carrot as well, and cucumbers is classic in there. We need salt and pepper. We're going to need some plastic wrap as well, so that we can wrap our bamboo mat that we use to roll them. All right, the last thing that we need is rice, and I've done this already because nobody needs to watch this, but basically your rice, we're using a straight white rice, not minute rice or anything like that, but use either a long grain rice. Short grain is even better, and usually you boil them 1 part rice, 2 parts water. And the difficulty with this is when you put it on the stove and you bring it to a boil, it'll want to bubble over and make a mess all over the place, so keep your eye on that. As soon as that starts to bubble, this is one of the things that you do want to cook with the lid on. But when that starts to bubble and starts to really want to come out the sides, just sort of put it off to the side like this, drop the heat. You want to keep it going. And what will end up happening is all that water will get evaporated, and you'll start to see, I've already blended this, I shouldn't have done that so you could have seen it, but you start to see little holes start to show up. If you're lucky enough to have a rice cooker at home, just use the rice cooker and you can get it all ready. Okay, so we're going to be breaking this into steps here. Number 1, we're going to prepare our rice. Okay, so once this is cooked, this isn't the type of thing where you want to use cold rice from the night before. There's a great use for that, fried rice, but for this we're actually going to want our rice to be on the warmer side, and we're going to be adding our rice wine vinegar and some salt and sugar. We're going to mix that up and we're going to put it off to the side. Okay, so I'm going to change views and then we'll start doing this step by step so that you can follow along. The number 1 most important step when you're dealing with sushi or even going to visit a sushi restaurant is take a look at the entire kitchen. So I sanitized the whole area first. Okay, and I used a bleach solution to do that. So I washed with soap and water, made sure everything was clean, made sure that everything I took out was clean as well. And if you go into a good sushi place, you'll always notice how clean the place is. And that's very, very important because this is going to be a ready-to-eat food. We're not cooking this in any way. So it's very important that our hands are clean, everything's clean, everything that we touch here has been cleaned and sanitized. Okay, so that's step 1. I'm going to move this out of the way and let's deal with our rice. Okay, so I'm just going to move that over. And so this is cool now. Well, somewhat cool. Yeah, we're okay. I'm going to put a towel on just to make sure. And so in here, what you'll see is nice fluffy rice. Okay, I went and stirred it. I should have waited so that you could have seen that. But what we're going to do with this, and this is very simple, with the recipe here, that was 2 cups of rice, 4 cups of water. I've cooked it, it's all done. Now I'm taking my rice wine vinegar, half a cup. That's it, okay, which happened to be this whole bottle. And we're going to put a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of sugar, and we're going to mix that up. Okay, so teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of sugar. And we're going to mix that all up and then put it aside ready for us to use. Now at this point here, I know that I'm going to be using this very, very shortly. So I'm not going to put the lid on it. I do want it to cool a little bit, but again, I don't want it fridge cold. Okay, and that's a telltale sign that you're having really bad sushi. So if you go to a restaurant and you order sushi and it comes out and the rice is cold, you know that the place obviously made them well in advance. You'll know that the nori's doesn't have that crispness and that really yumminess that it's supposed to have. Sushi's supposed to be made fresh and eaten fresh. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Doesn't really change, but you'll notice that it has a sheen on it now. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this lid. I'm going to put this aside. And like I showed you before, all I did for my sesame seeds was I just put them into a pan, no oil, anything like that. And over heat, I just sort of run around until I got some nice browning on this sesame seeds. I want to bring out those flavors, and it'll look really nice on the outside of our rolls. So let's bring back the cutting board. All right. Now, classic has crab, cucumber, avocado. That's it. I like to add the carrot. Gives it a little bit of a good texture, and it also gives it some color to balance out the greens and stuff. I think it looks really, really good. So we're going to do that today. I like to save this avocado for the end, okay, because I don't want it to oxidize. I don't want it to turn brown. I want it to have that nice color on the inside. When you pick an avocado, you want it to have, it'll sort of have this purplish color on the outside, and it'll be firm yet a little bit of give on the inside. Some people say just pull off the lid, and if it looks yellow on the inside, then you're good. If the little top is difficult to get out, then it needs to ripen a little bit longer. If you have some and you need to ripen them quickly, if you put them near bananas, they will ripen a little bit quicker as well. So I'm going to do that last, but I'm going to get all these things ready here. So my cucumber has been washed, my carrot has been peeled and washed. Everything here is nice and clean. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut that into a nice thin julienne, and you will not need mountains of stuff here. Okay, these it goes a long way. So don't think about doing 15 carrots and 4 avocado and all that sort of thing. For what I'm doing today, I'm going to use this avocado, and that will probably be more than enough. This is a third of a cucumber, and I'm using 1 carrot. I may not need the whole thing. So back to your knife safety. Remember, try to find a flat edge on that carrot. I tend to have one here. And what I'm doing is I'm going to cut those super, super thin. Okay, sharp knife, very important when you're making sushi. And this is why if you see sushi chefs, they have these knives that they pay sometimes $1,000 for that really hold a razor sharp edge. And it's very important when they're dealing with the fish and stuff. Today, you're not, this recipe does not give you raw fish. You're not going to be eating anything raw in here, except for the vegetables. If you're getting regular sushi, regular maki rolls, you could have raw tuna and raw salmon, and those are some of my favorites there. But you could also have some with tempura shrimp. Anytime you have shrimp, they tend to be cooked. Crab tends to be cooked always. And sometimes eel, and that will be cooked. But mackerel sometimes raw, and other fish as well, such as snapper, will be raw. Okay, so I've got these. They're all my nice little sticks. I'm going to put those off to the side, and now I'll go with so just to sort of show you what they look like. They're just little tiny matchsticks like that. Same thing with my cucumber. Going to make, now some sushi chefs will just go all the way around and take out just the green part and then go just sort of chop that up. I'm going to use a little bit more than that, but I want to still keep it kind of, that's it, kind of semi-thin. I mean, basically the same size stick that I'm using on my carrots there. Beautiful. Like that. All right, so then put these off to the side. And here, I'll move these carrots so you can actually see. And I'm doing the exact same thing. So remember that tip down first. Like that. bring that stack, put that over here. And I'll do these ones as well. And so even so far, I've got a lot here that I'm going to be able to use to make my Maki. And we're going to go with California rolls here today. And there are a couple different ways. Some people like to mix sort of a mayonnaise and sriracha kind of mixture to put on their crab. You could totally do that. Again, you can adapt it to pretty much anything that you want. And if you've been out to Hannah or whatever, you'll see that they'll, make something interesting and then, call it a sarnia roll or whatever. So you could do the same. Okay, going to get rid of some of this. Just so I have room on here. So this is just my extra stuff. Put that over here. Same thing over here. And basically, these are all my screw-up cuts, right? So that'll make a salad with that or whatever. Okay, just so you can see the avocado, I'm going to move these guys over here. And I like to keep them not too mixed up. Just bring them over here like that, just out of the way. With an avocado, there's a big pit in the middle. So what I like to do is just sort of cut through here, and then I just spin it around like that. Give her a twist like that, and then I just use the knife. I just tap into the seed, give it a little twist, and it comes out just like that. Then I'm going to take the inside of that out, and I'll do that with a large spoon. Now sometimes, depending on the ripeness, it might just pop out all on its own. Sometimes it needs a little bit of help, and that's what I've just done here. Now, this one took a little bit of a beating at some point in its travels, so I'm just going to cut that piece off. And then same thing on this side. Peel it out. Going to compost that. Take that off like that. Okay, so this into the compost. A little rinse of the hands. So with the avocado, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice these. Beautiful. Same thing over here. Now, if you find they're a little bit too big, I guess we could always cut those in half like that too. Okay, so you can totally do that. I don't know that I'll need to, but we'll leave it at that. Okay, I'm going to keep this knife sharp. I'm just going to run it on my steel a couple more times. Good. And I'm going to leave that aside here. I'm going to open this package of crab, and I'm going to take out a few pieces here. There you go. Okay, so it's meant to resemble a king crab leg. Nothing quite compares to king crab legs, but this is pretty tasty. Okay, you'll notice these are pretty big too. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to just cut these lengthwise in half. That's it. And I'm basically preparing everything that I need to make these rolls. Beautiful, just like that. Okay, and if you wanted to cut them even smaller, you could. All right, let's move these out of the way. And let's get ready for our next steps here. Okay, so you can still see this, yes? Okay, so let's put this so that you can still see it over here. Yeah, pretty much, eh? And here, I'll move these over to here, then you can kind of see. There's the avocado, there's this, there's that. Beautiful. Next step. you're going to need this bamboo mat. Now this bamboo mat, you could just use like this, but I like to cover it all in plastic, and just to make sure that nothing, nothing contaminates here. So I'm going to do that. So I take the plastic, do that, and I'm going way larger than it needs to be, so that I can wrap it around like that. All right, so I'm gonna wrap this around like this. Wrap this around like that. Beautiful. There you go. Okay, and this mat, really, I mean, if you have one, great. If you don't, you could still do this without. Okay, but it just makes things a little bit easier. So we're going to grab our nori. So this actual roll that I'm doing now is going to have seaweed on the outside. And then I'll do one on with the seaweed on the inside, which sometimes you've seen where the rice is on the outside of the roll. And so I'll show you how to do that too. There we go. So your nori has two sides to it. Has sort of a rougher side, and then it has a nice shiny side. That shiny side I want to keep on the outside. That's going to be the outside of my roll. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here. Going to take my rice, and I'm going to put a thin layer. The thicker this layer of rice is, the bigger the roll will be, and it's amazing how quick it gets big. So I want to put just a little bit, and I'm going to leave a little tab at the end so that it can roll and stick and become one. Okay, so you don't have a spiral, you have a circle with rice on the inside. Okay, so just going to, that's it. Yeah, I think you can see it okay. So see how I'm leaving that edge here? Okay, and that part's very, very important. So make sure you do that. Go right to the ends as well. Like that. Beautiful, like that. And I'm just going to fill in a little bit more of these gaps here, any little gaps that I see that are missing. And what you'll notice, I mean, once you start to cut it, the worst cuts will be these two end pieces, but we tend to flip them over on their side so that you can't really tell. Okay, so get rid of this. Now I'm going to lay these things in here. Okay, so I'm going to start off with some cucumber, and what you want to do is just make sure that it covers the whole thickness, and that it's the same thickness all the way around. Okay, so a little bit of cucumber like that, and I want to go right to the end here. There we go. Then a little bit of carrot, and I like that for the color, and it just gives it this cool little crunch too, which is nice. Like that. Then crab, and what I'll do with the crab is I think I'll go to here, and then I'll take this one piece and I'll just sort of fill in the gap. There we go, like that. And then avocado. Like this. There we go. Sometimes it gets a little stubborn on you. There we go. Okay, a little rinse. And the whole idea of this mat is to try to bring this up here like this. Okay, and then what I want to do is I want to just continue to use this mat to bring this over. That's it. And you'll see already it's a lot thicker than one would think. That's it. There we go. And then you can, once you're comfortable, just sort of continue, and look at that. Okay, and then I'm going to leave that on its side so that it can seal. If you lose any of the stuff, just pocket it in the side, or just get rid of it like that. All right, so I'm going to put this aside and we'll cut this in a minute. And what we're going to do now is do the other version, okay, where we're going to put a little bit of rice on the outside, and that's what we'll do. I'm just going to take a little bit of water. I'm just going to moisten the area here. Okay, I'm going to get another piece of nori ready because I want to measure sort of what's going on here. And I'm going to put the nori on the inside this time. There we go. And I'm going to try to make it just the exact same size as the nori that I have, because that nori is going to sit on top. That's it. And then what I will do is put all the stuff next to the nori. So you'll see that in a minute. Okay, and let's see how that looks. A little bit bigger. Go like that. All right, so I'm going to put that on there, and this one doesn't really matter which side the shiny side is. Okay, so this part won't matter. I'm going to take some carrot, some cucumber, avocado, oops, there we go, like that, and then some crab. I'll take that piece, put it in half, and I'm basically going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to bring this up, and I'm going to use this mat to sort of bring it around and then pull it in. And this is how you get the rice on the outside. Okay, and that moisture that I provided, just that little bit of moisture, I don't want to soak it, but will help to just make it easier to roll up like this. That's it. Beautiful like that. And you'll see this one's a little bit big. And that's okay. And I'm going to let that sit for a minute or so. Now, what I like to do with this roll here, this is where I like to put the sesame seeds. I like to put the sesame seeds on the outside. I'm just going to take this other little board, and I'm going to try to move this guy over. There we go. Beautiful, like that. And I'm just going to shape it a little bit. So it's a little bit more challenging when you have the rice on the outside, as you can well imagine. Okay, like that. And then if I just see a little gap, so I'm just going to fill that in and let that there. And I'm going to use the opportunity of this being a little on the moist side just to put my sesame seeds on there too. Now you can buy regular sesame seeds, and you can also buy black ones too, and they look really, really smart. Beautiful like that. Excellent. Okay, so now I'll continue to make some after we're finished this video here, but I'm just going to give you the basics here of cutting them and putting them onto your dish. So I'm going to put this guy aside. And I'll give this guy a little bit of a wipe here. Again, cleanliness is so important when you're dealing with sushi. Okay, so what we're going to do, put that there. I'm going to use this over here. Let's see if I can make the view half decent for you. Yeah. Ideally, I'd have another board here. All right, knife has to be nice and sharp. What I'm going to try to do, you want them all to be the same thickness, so that when you lay them on their sides, that they'll all be sort of the same even measurement, right? The same height. So same thing, cut like that. Okay, I think, let me see, will I be able to, yeah, I think I'll be able to do it like that. Beautiful. Wipe your knife in between. And then I'm going to go about, let's see, about that thick. Like that. Wipe. And sometimes what they'll do is they'll use this piece and just put it popped up this way, especially with tempura or something like that. I'm actually going to cut them straight, so they're a little bit cleaner. And I'm going to have to turn that to do that. So I'm going to turn that over here. And beautiful, like that. Okay, then I'm going to lay them on here. I've got kind of 3 levels going on here, so this isn't a perfect cut. However, I'm going to use that to my advantage and give it sort of a cascading effect. Okay, so as any true chef will tell you, there's every screw up is really just kind of just a way to make things interesting. So that's exactly what I'm going to do over here. Okay, so that's so far how that one looks. So I'm going to take the other one now, and I'll cut that one as well. We'll see, maybe we can do a little better job on this one. All right, so I'm going to wipe that. So we're going to go half here. There we go. And I think I'm going to go right here. There you go. There we go. I'm going to cut that. Wipe that. Do the balance. It's always a little bit harder on the one that has the rice on the outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to wet my fingers. And then I'm going to reshape it just slightly. Like that. And then I'll put that here. Same thing over here. Reshape it slightly with my wet fingers. Same thing here. Beautiful, like that. And we'll have, these are all pretty much the same size, but my last one was a little small, so not exactly perfection, but not horrible either. So just going to reshape that. And off she goes over here. Okay, so I'm going to clean up this area just so I can put together the rest of this dish. So here's the dish here. Okay, so I'm going to take this little guy right here, and I purposely kind of offset one of them so that I can have room here. That's it. And then what I'm going to do is add some pickled ginger. And the pickled ginger is really there to, cleanse the palate between the different types that you have. So in a situation like this where it was all the same, it might not be necessary. However, classically, I like it. I always like it. It tastes so good. And the last thing is wasabi. So typically you make a little wasabi bunch on this side. Oh, and this is a brand new one, so I'll just open that up. And you just make a little, oh, is it? Yeah, it's there. There, wasabi paste. Okay, and sometimes they'll shape it with their hands and do that. And then you'll serve that with some soy sauce. I find that Kikkoman brand is the best for sushi. And what I like to do just before I serve it up, a few more sesame seeds over the top. Like that. And I'm also going to get these ones over here. And that's it. Okay, so California rolls. So I'll just take you over here. And that's basically what we're looking at. So I hope you have a chance to try it out. And I can't wait to see your photos if you do. Anyways, have a great day. See you.